welcome to my first ever podcast episode. My name is Diamond. I'm going to be your host. I'm going to be calling this podcast the Wellness Hour. My boyfriend actually came up with that name and it's so cute. I think it's actually perfect for me because you probably came from my TikTok, which is Miss Wellness Pro. Feel free to follow me over there too because I post content daily on there. This is so exciting because it's my first ever podcast episode. Funny enough, yesterday I made a whole podcast episode and it didn't turn out the way I wanted to. I would say I'm definitely a beginner, but it happened, so it's whatever. We're here now and I'm so excited to get this podcast started. In this one, we're going to be talking about my journey from 0 to 10K on TikTok. We are growing as we speak right now, so thank you so much for tapping into my content. I have some questions prepared for myself, so I'm going to be asking them, and they're probably questions you guys are probably wondering about me too. You guys are used to the short form content of me, so this is really just for me to show you guys the long form me, the raw me, and I feel like that's what's missing from my content. And if you guys want to get to know me, this is a great way, and I'm just going to be showing you guys the insides of my life. Yeah, let's get it started. The first question is, when did you start your TikTok and how have you changed since then? Yeah, so I started my TikTok around September. I honestly don't even know the month. I think it was August or September of 2024. At the time I started, I was living in a really shitty apartment. I was not in the place I am now. I'll get into that later, but it was a huge switch for me. Honestly, I've changed so much. Like, I literally had a thought today that was like, I've probably had like 5 million thoughts ever since I started TikTok. Like, I feel like I have 5 million thoughts every day. Yeah, I've changed a ton physically, mentally, emotionally, all of that, because like physically, I started working out again. I started to take care of my looks because being on camera, like, that does something to you. And then emotionally, am also just turned 22, and I just in general have learned how to control my emotions more. Mentally, I've just gone through so many mental barriers, and I hope to get more in depth about that in this podcast. By the way, this whole entire podcast, like from now and forward, like my entire podcast, I want to make it about like self-development, self-improvement, all things wellness, because I think if you found me, you probably want to improve yourself in some way. And I feel like that's really my purpose. Like, I want to help you guys, and I want to let you know that, I'm proud of you, because it's hard to be proud of yourself when you're going through things in life. I feel like I just can really help people from my experiences in the past, like mainly like 2 years. I've like matured so much. Even before then, I actually went through a lot of like, my fitness journey, binge eating, all those things that I want to get into this podcast, So yeah, that is my purpose for this podcast, and I hope that any of my episodes will help you in the future. This is also a perfect outlet for me because I need to get it out somehow. Like, this is therapeutic for me. Yeah, like, I don't want to get into this question too much. Let's move on to the next one. The second question is, tell us about how you grew up and why you started content creation. I basically grew up not from a rich family. I always grew up following the rules. That's how I think of myself growing up now. In the moment, obviously, I'm just like brainwashed, just going through school, following all the rules, just, trading my time for money, all of these things, and just being taught to do one thing, and that's to go to college and get a salary, right? So, yeah. And then around when I was 19 and I met my boyfriend, that's when like my brainwash started to be unbrainwashed, and he really helped me like level up in a way, because he opened my eyes to so many things that I don't know if I would have like really realized without him. So yeah, love him. And then I'm actually a 4th year in college right now, so I have a semester to go. I never knew that I was actually gonna do content creation. Funny story, when I was in like 5th grade or something, I posted like I think 2 YouTube videos, and I ended up deleting them because my family like found out. I felt really embarrassed, and I deleted it and never did it again. I didn't know I was going to do content creation until recently, because I actually was starting to do some side hustles in college. After doing the side hustles, I got into a little bit of marketing and content creation, but just without my face. I started to build my personal brand. I don't know where this is going to take me. I had no idea what I wanted to do. Like, I didn't even want to talk on the camera. I just wanted to be like a mysterious girl. The benefits outweigh the risk, seriously, because I can reach so many people through social media and help them through my experiences and at the same time level myself up. Okay, let's go on to the third question, and it is, what's an obstacle you face and how did you overcome it? So I actually thought of two things that I faced that was definitely big in my life and just shaped me. For one, it was that shitty apartment I used to live in that I was talking about earlier. I'm gonna tell you now that there was roaches in it, and that's all I have to say. There was bad architecture, bad like everything about it, like bad management. And I just knew for a long time it was just me thugging it out. And I knew that it was temporary, but it lasted so long that I had a breaking point. So something happened in October that just really, really was a big sign for me to move out. So then I took on the like risk or the responsibility of being like, okay, I have accepted that I need to move out and I'm going to take action on it. And it was the most stressful month I could probably ever think of. Like, the shit happened with my landlord the first week of October, and then the rest of the month was me like trying to find a new apartment while going to school, doing my lifestyle things and whatever. And it was just a huge, huge weight on my shoulders, and I was crying a lot. But then I knew like something was telling me that I needed to move out. So I kept listening to that because I was at a breaking point. Like I said, like it was just, I lived there for like a year and a half. After I moved out in November, I was much happier. It was so much work too, like getting this apartment that I'm in currently right now. Like, I knew that it was also going to mean so much abundance for me because I knew that I was still posting content while moving out. And I was just like, this move is so much like needed for me. It will benefit my content so much. So yeah, so that was another obstacle too, moving out, going to school, working my part-time job. All of it on my plate was just so much, honestly. And I faced it and I overcame it because I just knew there was something telling me, like my gut was telling me the right thing. Oh my gosh, this thing cuts off the podcast, but we're back now. As I was saying, I was posting daily as a student, and a lot of people would probably stop where I made progress, like people wouldn't be able to post daily and see the vision all the way through. Yeah, this just goes to show though that there are no excuses when it comes to reaching your goals and chasing your dreams. Like, literally no excuses. If you have a dream in your mind and you can't stop thinking about it, or there's something like about your situation you don't like and you just really are frustrated of how you're living, then girl, there are no excuses. You have the power to control your life. Let me say it again. You have the power to control your life, and you are the driver's seat in your life. And if you're not the driver's seat in your life, girl, there are some changes you need to be making, because that is how it's supposed to be. You can make whatever the fuck you want out of life. Yeah, let this be your reminder and your sign to start changing up your life if you've been needing to or you've been wanting to. For one, moving out of my shitty apartment was a huge blessing, and I saw it as that, but it was absolutely a huge obstacle I had to go through. And my other obstacle while making content is posting daily as a college student and part-time worker. Let's move on to the fourth question, and that is, how do you not care what other people think? So this is crazy because I have always cared what people thought in my life. I've always been an insecure person. I'm not afraid to admit that. And, of course, I'm still insecure to this day. So then when I started my content in, September or whatever, you have to low-key not care about what people think. Like, when you're putting your face out there, I have an amazing circle around me throughout this journey, and they have helped me with so many mental barriers through this journey from 0 to 10K so far. And they told me that it's better to get over caring what people think rather than getting over it later. Like, why is like, haters are always going to be there, right? Like, I knew in the beginning that I'm going to get haters. There's going to be smart people on social media, and I get that like every day. There's people commenting all the time, and every time I see it I just like kind of laugh because I'm like, just people are very uneducated. Holy shit, my stutter is bad today. But yeah, people are just, they don't know the half of it. They don't know 1% of your life at all. They see like that 0.5% of your life on social media, or they see that video of yours and they think that they can just comment these things. And that's the thing that makes me not care, is that like, I don't even know like 1% of my life. So why do I even care to like give power to your opinion? So at the end of the day, like when you give your power to people's thoughts, that's when it's like dangerous. But if you don't give no power to it, that thought that they gave you, or that hate comment, or whatever, comment they gave you, at the end of the day, that's just like whatever. It's just a thought. It's just a comment. It's like, I know my core values. I know my morals. I know exactly what I go through every day. These people don't know anything about what I go through every day. And at the end of the day, that gives me so much confidence, because I've built a lot of my confidence through like learning through side hustles and through content creation, like all of these things in the past like 1 to 2 years that I've gone through. Literally, this is just the beginning. Like I have so much more self-confidence to build up, so many more achievements to, accomplish. That's what gives me the power to not care about what people think, because like what exactly is in your heart. What you think every day, what your true opinions are. And at the end of the day, why are you going to let some little dot in the world? We're all just dots in the world. How are you just going to let some random person like affect you like that? Literally watch Leo Skepi's podcast about how to not care what people think, and that will literally change your life, because people are worried about themselves. People will never be worried about you at all. Like they will hate on you for 1 second and then just go back to their day. And it's also projection. It's really not towards you at the end of the day, if you think about it. And as I'm doing content, like over time, I was just like, I can't give a fuck about what people think. I literally can't afford to give a fuck, because like I said, like you have to I'm putting all my focus and energy into my goals and into bettering myself. So like, just like how people are just focused on their goals may not be looking like mine, but I don't care. I'm focused on mine. Let's go to the last question, and it is, what are your future plans with content creation? 0 to 10K is amazing, right? It literally put my foot on the pedal on my life. There's a lot of other things I want to do, so we'll see when that comes out. I'm not going to like say, but yeah, this podcast is definitely one of them. So I'm just going to do these podcasts as much as I can, because girl, these podcasts are crazy time consuming, not only to do, but also to edit. And then as for TikTok, girl, you already know we're trying to run that up, and we're trying to build a huge community. And if you guys didn't know, or if you guys peep my content, I absolutely love Lena Lifts. Like, she is a huge inspiration to me. I have many huge inspirations, but she's just one of them that's just very known. And like, I definitely see myself in the future like doing like self-improvement type content, obviously not copying her, but like, she's a huge inspiration. And coming out with my own products one day, like how she has a journal, but who knows what content creation is gonna do for me. I'm so excited for it. Like, that's why I would just want to do things. So we'll see how things go. And just so many people give me the sweetest comments every single day. And every time someone comments something sweet, or like, oh, your content is helping me, or oh, I love your content, like that literally pushes me to do more. So feel free to leave a comment on this YouTube video actually, or this podcast, because man, that is actually going to be so motivating for me. You guys don't even know. And at the end of the day, I'm doing this to not only help myself, but help tons of people out there, help you watching or listening. I am so grateful for you tapping into my first ever podcast. If you're listening to this or watching this, like, you are a real one. You have basically been here since the beginning. I hope this podcast inspires you in any way though. Like, I hope you learned something. If you guys want to, feel free to look at my Amazon storefront. I just made that, so you guys can shop for what I use all the time and things I use for like self-care. Let me just close off this episode. And again, I'm so grateful for you. Thanks for tapping in, and I'll see you in my next podcast. Bye.